So I'd like to review the government's case against Leonard Peltier. It seems like the government's case comes down to two different bullets, and a fingerprint that we're told about. We're just supposed to believe what we're being told. Yeah, and Fred Hampton was... Okay, anyway, so Leonard Peltier. Leonard Peltier was denied parole in 2009 after he refused to admit to the killings as a condition. So Leonard Peltier, you could walk free, you just got to admit to what you did. And instead of saying that he killed those two FBI agents and being released, we're supposed to believe that his ego is just too much. His ego is just, he's going to maintain this lie when he could have got freedom. As much as a man can be too prideful or egotistical, why sacrifice one's freedom to maintain an innocence that's not true if there's no reason to do so? Leonard Peltier is an innocent man. Leonard Peltier refused to admit to killing anybody because Leonard Peltier didn't kill anybody. I am an innocent man, Peltier said. You have to understand, Leonard Peltier said. I didn't kill those agents. I didn't order anyone to kill those agents. He didn't kill the agents. He didn't give the order. I'm an innocent man. I'm an innocent man. The incident that involved Williams and Kohler was over in a maximum of 10 minutes. So a thing happened for 10 minutes back in 1975, and here it is 50 years later, and people are acting like he is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. This conviction was riddled with misconduct by the prosecutors, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, who, say they investigated the case, and frankly, the jury. If this case was tried today, Leonard Peltier does not get convicted. There was fake witnesses. There's fake witnesses. There is this poor bear Myrtle. The FBI was able to get this woman who was a part of the tribe to say that she was Leonard Peltier's girlfriend. And not only was she Leonard Peltier's girlfriend, she knew what he was about. She knew that he had did the deed. But it turns out it was all total bullshit. After fleeing to Canada and being extradited to the United States, Leonard Peltier was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced in 1977 to life in prison. Despite the FBI fabricating evidence against him, the prosecution's main eyewitness, Myrtle Poorbear, she said she was Leonard Peltier's girlfriend at the time of the shooting, and she had witnessed him kill both of the agents. But then later on, Myrtle Poorbear is going to recant her testimony. She says that none of it was true. She was coerced by the FBI. The FBI put pressure on her. And then ultimately, she didn't even know who Leonard Peltier was. So any old brown woman just put a little pressure on her and she starts telling lies, and we're just going to take her lies as if it's the God's honest truth. She didn't even know Leonard. She didn't even know Leonard. She never saw anything after she had said that she saw every bit of it. What the fucking fuck? That's a setup. He's straight up framed. This isn't justice. This is the FBI tribe getting revenge against somebody, anybody, because one of theirs was killed, so now we got to get one of them. A federal appeals court in 1978, while upholding the conviction, called the use of affidavits from Poorbear to extradite Peltier a clear abuse of the investigative process. So that's the U.S. appeals court. They're saying that's ridiculous. Another bullshit witness, perfectly named Special Agent Coward. Oh, Coward, the FBI guy, Coward. That's J. Edgar Hoover, is that not? So Special Agent Coward, the FBI guy, said that he could see Leonard Peltier clearly through his long-range rifle scope. So you got the rifle, and then you got the scope, and then he's a mile, 2 miles away, and he could see, oh yeah, that's Leonard Peltier. Oh yeah, but when they were investigating, when they had him right in front of his face, they didn't even know who the guy was. They were looking for somebody else, Jimmy Eagle or something. They can't tell. You kidding? Okay, so let's say they maybe saw something that, okay, but they asked the judge if they would let the jury look through the long-range rifle scope. Let's see the jury look through the scope and see if you can actually identify a person from a mile away. The judge isn't going to allow that. Why not? Because you can't see anybody distinctly from 2 miles away through a tiny little mirror and window scope. Special Agent Coward testified that late in the afternoon on the day of the murders, he saw through the telescopic sight on his rifle 2 individuals. One was Leonard Peltier at the scene of the crime. Coward also interviewed BIA Officer Stolt, who was with him when he cited the defendant. In his 302 report, which showed the date of the interview as June 28, 1975, Coward stated that Stolt told of sighting 2 persons, one of whom looked like Jimmy Eagle through his binoculars. Well, that's not Leonard Peltier, that's Jimmy Eagle. And then Coward interviewed Stolt again on September 4th, 1975, and reported that Stolt was now positive that he had seen Eagle and Leonard Peltier. Oh, how convenient. When he was interviewed just days after the incident took place, he didn't even mention Leonard Peltier. But then he's interviewed, June, July, August. 3 months later, all of a sudden, Leonard Peltier is a part of his narrative. Stolt was now positive. Stolt was called as a defense witness, denied that he talked to Coward on June 28th. He lied. He lied. Did you talk to this Coward on June 28th? Then he stated that he was uncertain on June 26th that one of the persons he cited was Eagle. Oh my God. Joseph Stunts, he's going to get murdered. Do brown lives not matter? Citing against Leonard Peltier is like citing on the side of saving 4 hostages in exchange for 247 people killed. 247 people is greater than 4 people. 4 people is less than 247 people. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you're going to sit there and say murder by somebody against the FBI is a crime, then when the FBI murders, that's a crime too. Thou shalt not murder. It doesn't matter if you're a government agent or not. Joseph Stunts was killed by an FBI sniper. That's what the Justice Department concluded. So if the FBI is actually taking notes, they know exactly who killed Joseph Stunts. But do we get a murder trial for Joseph Stunts? Why not? Doesn't justice demand the same treatment of the killer of Joseph Stunts as Ronald and Jack? Is that not the rule of law? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. So let's review the case against Leonard Peltier, the case against his narrative. All the evidence that the government provided against Leonard Peltier is completely circumstantial. Again, it comes down to 2 different bullets. A single .223 cartridge, a .22-3 cartridge, and then a .22 copper bullet jacket, and a fingerprint. All circumstantial evidence, and that's assuming what they wrote down is true, because, people can't just lie. If we view this in the light most favorable to the government, the strongest evidence Peltier had committed or aided and abetted the murder is as follows. So let's review the government's case against Leonard Peltier. Number 1, the van that the agents followed into the Jumping Bull compound was occupied by Peltier, Norman Charles, and Joseph Stunts. They were stalking Joseph Stunts. They were following Joseph Stunts, and they're saying Peltier. And they were following him in an unmarked car in plain clothes. Are you sure they know they're the FBI? Are you sure? Because it seems like if you're just being stalked by some random people, you should be pretty nervous. You should wonder what the hell these people are doing. At the time, Leonard Peltier, they said, had access to information that he was being followed by FBI agents. One of the occupants of the van, Norman Charles, had been picked up along with 2 other AIM members, Anderson and Draper, by Kohler and Williams the day before. The 3 had been transported to Pine Ridge in Williams' car and later released after the agents were informed that none of them were Jimmy Eagle. Peltier had reason to believe that the agents were looking for him rather than Jimmy Eagle. He stipulated at trial that there was an arrest warrant outstanding charging him with attempted murder. Upon his arrest in Canada months later for the murders of the agents, Leonard Peltier remarked that the 2 agents were shot when they came to arrest him. Michael Anderson, one of the AIM members who was firing at the cars from one of the houses in the Jumping Bull compound, testified that after both sides had been shooting at one another from a distance, and at least one of the agents had been wounded, he saw Leonard Peltier and some guy named Ribideau and Butler. Who are these peeps? Ribideau? Butler? Are we just coming up with people now? Standing down at the agent's car. Leonard Peltier, at the time, they said, was holding an AR-15. We're going to have to talk about this AR-15 because the 2 bullets are saying That clearly a 22 copper bullet jacket and a single 22-3 cartridge found in the trunk of Ronald and Jack. Clearly that was from the AR-15. And then the 22 copper bullet jacket, or the 22-3, they said was loaded and unloaded, not shot. Just that it was put into the AR-15 and then taken out of the AR-15. What in the F and F? How did they know that? Shortly after he had saw the three down at the agents' cars, they're saying Leonard Peltier began to walk back to Tent City, a distance of about a quarter of a mile. Or this is Michael Anderson. Then when Michael Anderson arrived at Tent City, Leonard Peltier and Ribideau and Butler were already there, as was Williams's car. FBI agents who later searched the area recovered Williams's badge and billfold on the ground near the junction of the roads leading to the houses in Tent City. It was at this junction that Peltier's van, I thought it was a truck. They keep saying a van, but it looked like a truck to me, had stopped shortly before the firing commenced. According to the doctor who performed the autopsies, the agents were shot with a high-velocity, small-caliber weapon. Leonard Peltier's AR-15, the civilian counterpart of the M16, was the highest-velocity weapon fired that day. No other person was seen by any trial witness on June 26 with an AR-15. So Leonard Peltier had an AR-15, they're saying, and there you go, case closed. Why else would he have an AR-15? Leonard Peltier carried his AR-15 out with him when he and the other participants of the shootout escaped from the reservation, fled to the Rosebud Reservation, where they remained for some time before splitting up. Ribideau, Charles, and Anderson went south after leaving Rosebud. Anderson testified that he loaded their car with weapons, one of which was an AR-15, before they left South Dakota. On September 10th, 1975, the car explodes. The car explodes on the Kansas Turnpike, and the police recovered from the car an AR-15. And of course, the government is going to contend that's the same AR-15 that Leonard Peltier had on the day of the murders, and it was the same one that was his. He owned it. And hell, you know, if you find an AR-15 today, it probably is Leonard Peltier's. Ammunition components linked ballistically to the same AR-15 were found at the crime scene. This is all according to the experts. You had a ballistics expert who, the ballistics expert was unable to fire the AR-15 because it had been damaged in the explosion on the Kansas Turnpike. However, he was able to remove the bolt from it, place the bolt in another AR-15, and then test fire the replacement AR-15. The expert testified that a 223 cartridge casing found in the trunk of Kohler's car had been loaded into and extracted from the AR-15. He also testified that a 22 caliber copper bullet jacket was found on the ground underneath the bodies of Kohler and Williams, and that had rifling impressions consistent with the rifling of the barrel of an AR-15. There's no testimony to indicate that either Ribideau or Butler was seen that afternoon of the murders with a weapon that fired 22 caliber bullets. I'm going to repeat those two things again because that seems to be the best case that they got. They got two bullets, which are two different bullets, and then a fingerprint we're going to talk about later. So you have a the 22 caliber copper bullet jacket and then .223. When the people say a 22, they're talking about .22. .223 cartridge. So we got two different bullets. We got a 223 cartridge, and then we got a 22 copper bullet jacket. So we have a casing and a bullet jacket. Isn't that the same thing? Okay, so they found the 223 cartridge casing found in the trunk of the FBI's car. And they said that it was put into an AR-15 and taken out. So what does that mean? Leonard Peltier had his own bullets, shot all these bullets, and then he picked up another bullet and tried to put it into the thing and it didn't work, and then he popped it back out. And this is in the trunk. It's in the trunk. Well, I don't even understand what we're even trying to say here. That somehow he had shot the FBI agents when the trunk was open, and then the bullet casing shot out and landed in the trunk. That's the smoking gun evidence. That's the videotape testimony. And then the 22 caliber copper bullet jacket was found in the ground underneath the bodies of Kohler and Williams. Okay, well that seems like that most likely had something to do with the shooting of them. But the bullet in the trunk? the bullet in the trunk, and these are two different bullets. So they're saying the .22 caliber copper bullet jacket was found underneath the body of Cullen Williams. Well, there's a big problem with the whole idea of a .22 caliber bullet only coming from an AR-15 and only coming from Leonard Peltier's AR-15. The problem with this is that .22 caliber bullets are fired by every weapon out there. It doesn't matter, pistol, rifle, long rifles, semi-automatics, .22s. You can put .22s in so many different things. I did a little bit of research here. So let's look at all the different guns that uses .22 bullets. It almost seems like the .22 is the most common bullet in the world. The designation .22 is a kind of shorthand for .22 caliber weapons, pistols or rifles. So when folks say .22, they most universally mean a .22 LR. And a .22 LR is long rifle. There's 4 types of common .22 caliber cartridges. You got the .22 short, .22 long, .22 long rifle, and the .22 Winchester Magnum, or the .22 Mag, or the .22 WM. So when you talk about a .22, was it the short? Was it the long? Was it the long rifle? Was it the Winchester Magnum? The .22 caliber, or 5.6 millimeters, so super tiny, right? 5.6 millimeters. This refers to a common firearms bore diameter of .22 inch. So .22, when they say it's a .22, it's only 1/5 of an inch, 5.6 millimeters, in both rimfire and centerfire cartridges. Cartridges in this caliber include the very widely used .22 long rifle and the .22-3 Remington 556 x 45 millimeters NATO. You know what guns can use the .22 bullets? Well, let's take a list. Let's take a look here. You have a Smith & Wesson Model 53 revolver. That uses a .22 Remington Jet. You got the Savage Model 99 rifle. That uses a .22 Savage High Power 5.6 by 52 MMR. You also have the standard 9mm pistol. Standard 9mm pistol magazines. That's the .22 TCM or 22 Micro Mag. And that's a shortened .223 Remington case. You also have a Winchester single-shot rifle that uses a .22 Winchester centerfire. This was introduced in 1885. The Savage High Power was introduced in 1912. These bullets have been around for a long time. The FBI didn't know any of this. And then you have the .22 Nosler, a cartridge introduced in 2017, intended for use in AR-15 style rifles. So you have another .22. You got another 221, a .221 Remington Fireball. And what's that used for? An XP100 pistol, 1963. So you got the XP100 pistol, you got a Savage Model 99 rifle, you got the Smith & Wesson Model 53 revolver, you got rifles and revolvers, you got 9mm pistols, you got Winchester single-shot rifles. This isn't just used for AR-15s, it's used for so many guns out here. I'm just on number 6. There's like a list of 13 here. So we got the .221 Remington Fireball. I already mentioned that, but that's the XP100 pistol. The .23 Remington, that's for the Armalite AR-15. There's different AR-15s too, but this one's for the Armalite AR-15. Then you have the .22-4 calibrated rebarreled lined US-30 carbines. So a .22 Spitfire 5.7mm Johnson, originally MMJ 5.7, is used for a US-30 carbine. A carbine is not an AR-15. A rifle, Winchester single-shot rifle, is not an AR-15. 9mm pistols are not an AR-15. Savage Model 99 rifle and a Smith & Wesson Model 53 revolvers are not AR-15s. Then you have the Weatherby Varmint Master Rifle. Again, this is a .224 Weatherby Magnum 5.56 x 49 MMB, a cartridge developed in 1963 for the use of the Weatherby Varmint Master Rifle. Well, the Weatherby Varmint Master Rifle, that's not an AR-15 either. You got the Freedom Arms Model 97 revolver. That's uses .224, 32 FA. That's a whole bunch of guns that are not AR-15s. They act like the 2 bullets that they found, 2 different bullets, a .223 cartridge in the trunk, which that tells me nothing. You found a cartridge in the trunk? How do you know it wasn't the FBI? How do you know it wasn't planted? You got some corrupt cops, they'll shoot a person and they'll just throw a gun down. That person has a tighter case than the FBI does. Well, that man had a gun, and he had a gun right on him. Oh yeah, because it'd be totally impossible to throw a single bullet into the trunk. Well, what's this bullet here in the trunk? And what's this bullet here underneath the FBI guys? That's your case? That's your whole case? The 22 long rifle, it's also known as the 22 LR, or 5.6 times 15 millimeter R. It's a long established variety of 22 caliber rimfire ammunition originating from the United States. And it's used in a wide range of firearms, including rifles and pistols and revolvers and submachine guns. So it can be used in an AR-15, it can be used in a rifle, it can be used in a revolver, it can be used in a 9mm pistol. You're trying to tell me you found a single 22 bullet and then therefore, well, that must be Leonard Peltier's. Oh, okay, you got it. It's the most common. I mean, I went to Walmart and there was a whole bunch of 22 bullets. Is that Sam Walton there? Sam Walton is guilty of shooting those FBI agents in South Dakota on the Pine Ridge Reservation back in 1975. In terms of the units sold, the 22 is by far the most common ammunition that is manufactured and sold in the world. So you found the most common bullet in the world? You found the most common bullet in the world. And you said that is Leonard Peltier's for sure, 100%, beyond a reasonable doubt. You have no doubt whatsoever in your mind. The most common ammunition manufactured and sold in the world. The .223 Remington is become one of the most popular cartridges and is currently used in a wide range of semi-automatic and manual action rifles and even handguns, such as the Colt AR-15, but also the Ruger Mini 14 and the Remington Model 700. So even when it comes to the semi-automatic guns, it's not just the AR-15 shooting 22s. You got the Ruger Mini 14 and the Remington Model 700. The popularity of the .223 Remington is so great that in the United States it is virtually eliminated all other 22 caliber center fire varmint rifle cartridges. So it's so damn popular. You found one bullet that's the most common bullet in all the world, and then the other bullet is becoming the most popular bullet in all the world. Oh wow! So you found, how in the world is this an open and shut case? This is such bullshit. It's not even fucking funny. The guy's got diabetes. He's dying, and you're carrying on with the illusion that the conviction is saying the truth. You know, I mean, my God. People push lies all the time. And the damn system wants to uphold the lies because that's what the system does. The system is so flimsy and so insecure. You made the arrest, so now you got to do everything that you can to say that the person that you arrested is guilty regardless of the truth or not. So let's review. What all can shoot a 22 bullet? What kind of gun can shoot a 22 bullet besides an AR-15? Well, you got the Smith & Wesson Model 53 revolver. You got the Savage Model 99 rifle. You got the Winchester rifle. You got the XP100 pistols. You got the US 30 carbines. You got the Weatherby Varmint Master rifle. You got the Freedom Arms Model 97 revolver. The Freedom Arms Model 7 revolver. The Colt AR-15. So there is the Ruger Mini 14 and the Remington Model 700. That's revolvers, that's rifles, that's pistols, that's rifles, pistols, revolvers, and submachine guns. That's 13 different guns. 10 of them are not AR-15s. It almost seems like just a shotgun. Only a shotgun is the only gun out there that doesn't shoot a 22. All the rest of them apparently can shoot a 22. The last 2 points of the government's case, Wilford Draper. Wilford Draper, a member of the escape party that left Tent City in the evening of the murders, testified that he overheard Leonard Peltier, Butler, and Ribideau discussing certain details of the murders on the evening of June 26, 1975. But what were those details? Leonard Peltier was stopped by the police months later in the state of Oregon. He fled the scene, turning to fire on one of the police officers. The motor home in which he was riding was searched, and Special Agent Kohler's revolver was found in a bag bearing Leonard Peltier's thumbprint. What the hell does that matter? They used to, Nat Turner was killed and they passed his head from one person to another person. So the person that's got Nat Turner's head, was he responsible for Nat Turner's death? President Obama denied a petition for clemency 2 days before leaving office in 2017. The case against Jimmy Eagle was dismissed. The warrant on Peltier, this was for an off-duty police officer in Minnesota. So you got some uppity, unearned, arrogant, plainclothes Caucasian in a uniform was talking, doing donuts, eating donuts in the middle of, what is he doing? So he just throws a warrant on Leonard Peltier. He goes out to South Dakota. And then they're looking for Jimmy Eagle, and then somehow, I had a dipshit who swung a golf club at me in 2009, and that was attempted murder. He swung hard 3 times in a row, aiming for my head. The cops, the DA, judge, nobody cared for the truth. The truth didn't matter at all. An arrest was made. So the system did everything that they could to justify the arrest. The system didn't care for the truth. They didn't get to the bottom of things. And if you don't know the truth, how in the world can justice be served? The truth is a foundation for justice. Where people just want to side on things and it's just a game. And then it becomes a competition. Instead of it being investigative or inquisitional, instead it's competitive. Seems to me good DAs, good cops, good judges, they would care about the damn truth. You can't serve justice unless you know the truth. You can't get justice unless you know the truth. So when we review, their whole case comes down to 2 bullet casings and a fingerprint. A fingerprint, again, we're just taking their word for it. I want to see the picture. I believe the videotape and I believe my own eyeballs. I wasn't there, so the only thing I got is the evidence that is being presented to me. And the evidence doesn't say that he's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The evidence says that there's 2 bullets found. The 2 most common bullets in the world were found near the dead bodies. That's it. That's all that they got. And how many different guns can use those bullets? You got a whole bunch of guns. Rifles, pistols, revolvers, submachine guns. It's not just the AR-15. It's the Remington Model 700. It's the Ruger Mini 14. It's the Smith & Wesson Model 53 revolver. The Savage Model 99 rifle. The Winchester rifle. The XP100 pistol. You have the US 30 carbines. The Weatherby Varmint Master rifle. Freedom Arms Model 97 revolver. Rifles, pistols, revolvers, and submachine guns. This is not an open and shut case. This isn't even a good case at all. So many goddamn loopholes. So many vacuums. So many gaping. There's big holes in their story. There's a big hole in their story. The 2 people of AIM, Dino Butler and Robert Ribideau, they were acquitted of the killing of the 2 FBI agents. Give Leonard Peltier a brand new trial. There's no way he is going to get convicted in today's. No way. If the judge is fair and the judge wants to get to the truth, there's no way you're going to get a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt. Beyond a reasonable doubt, that means you know for a fact, you know he did it, you were basically there, you saw the picture, you saw the videotape, you got the testimony from some impeccable, untouchable. And then when they were tried first, Ribideau and Butler were acquitted by a jury on grounds of self-defense. But they weren't going to allow self-defense to be presented at Leonard Peltier's trial. Even though that the damn evidence was exculpatory, which means it proves his innocence. They suppressed exculpatory evidence. They suppressed it. They had those witnesses lying. There were so many damn flaws. This deeply flawed trial is ridiculous. He's 78 years old. He's 80-something years old. He's in Coleman number 1, Coleman, Florida, maximum security prison. He's reported that he sometimes lacks access to basic needs such as water. He's got an abdominal aortic aneurysm. He suffered in 2016. He's old. He's got poor health. And instead, he's still stuck at the penitentiary. In 2022, 7 U.S. Senators, Patrick Leahy, Elizabeth Warren, Ed Markey, Bernie Sanders, Mazie K. Hirono, and Tina Smith wrote to the president to express their support for clemency. So did a whole bunch of other people. Even former FBI Special Agent Legal Counsel for the FBI's Minneapolis Division, Colleen Rowley, wrote to the president in support of clemency. In her letter, Mrs. Rowley attributes Mr. Peltier's continued incarceration to active FBI opposition, stating that retribution seems to have emerged as the primary, if not sole, reason for continuing what looks from the outside to be an emotional-driven FBI family vendetta. 2 people of the FBI got killed and shot, so they just had to nab somebody, anybody. And Leonard Peltier was the perfect scapegoat, the perfect patsy. There's more craziness to the case, but that's essentially the government's case against Leonard Peltier. It's not open and shut case. It's actually a very, very crappy case that's filled with a ton of holes and